Liam was 10 years old and quiet. He didn't talk much in class, didn't run around with other kids during recess, and never showed off. But he listened, always listening, always watching. One rainy Thursday morning, the teacher asked the students to stand up and say what their parents did for work. My mom works at the hospital. One girl said proudly, my dad drives trucks. Another boy said, Then came Liam's turn. He stood slowly, his voice calm and soft. My dad is in special forces. The room fell silent. Then someone laughed. It started with one boy in the back, then another. Then the whole class giggled. Even the teacher smiled awkwardly. But the worst laugh came from the corner of the room of Daniels, the school security officer. He leaned against the wall with his arms crossed and shook his head. Special forces. Huh, that's a big one, kid. Got any proof? Liam didn't answer. He didn't blink. He just sat back down, eyes straight ahead. After class, the teacher gently pulled Liam aside. Sweetheart, you know it's okay to tell the truth. You don't have to make things up. Liam looked up at her. I didn't lie. She sighed. Okay, Liam. Go on to lunch. But the whispering didn't stop. Kids pointed at him in the hallway. Special forces boy. Yeah, right. Even during lunch, Officer Daniels walked by and muttered, maybe he's on a secret mission to finish his math homework. Liam didn't respond. He just picked up his tray, sat alone, and stared at the wall. After school, Liam didn't wait for the bus. He walked home, his backpack bouncing lightly against his shoulders. The sky was still cloudy, and the streets were empty. As he turned the last corner near his street, he noticed something strange. A black SUV was parked near his house. It wasn't there in the morning. Liam slowed down. The windows were dark. The engine was off. As he got closer, the back window rolled down slightly. A deep voice came from inside Liam. It's time. Liam stopped. His heart beat faster, but he didn't run. He stepped closer. The door opened. Inside sat a man in a black coat, wearing dark sunglasses. Even though the sky was gray, his face was hard, serious, but there was something familiar in his voice. Do you have it? The man asked. Liam nodded. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small silver coin. On it was an eagle with a lightning bolt through its wings. The man reached out and closed Liam's hand around it. Don't show it to anyone, he said. Not yet. But you'll know when the time is right. Liam nodded again. The man gave a small smile. He was proud of you. Still is. Before Liam could say anything, the door shut, and the SUV drove away. No sound. No headlights. Liam stood there, staring at the road. That night, his mom noticed he was quiet more than usual. You okay, honey? She asked while doing the dishes. Liam nodded. They laughed when I said Dad was in special forces. She froze for a moment, then looked at him. And what did you say? Nothing, Liam replied. But someone came today. Her hand stopped moving. Who? Man in a black SUV. He asked if I had it. I showed him the coin. She dropped the plate. It shattered on the floor. Liam, she gasped. You weren't supposed to. Who else saw you? No one. She sat down, holding her head. Did he say anything else? She asked, almost in a whisper. Liam looked at her. He said, Dad's proud of me. Tears welled in her eyes. She got up, walked to a small cabinet above the fridge, and unlocked it with a key from around her neck. Inside was an old worn-out box. She opened it slowly and took out a photo. Liam's dad in full uniform, standing with 4 other men, all wearing the same eagle patch on their arms. Liam stared at the photo. Why did he leave? To protect us, she said softly. He wasn't just in the army. He was something else. Something ... secret. Why don't people believe me? Because sometimes, people laugh when they're scared or when they don't understand. She handed him the photo. But you have nothing to prove. You carry his blood, his courage. And one day, they'll see. That night, Liam placed the coin under his pillow and held the photo in his hand as he fell asleep. But outside, the same black SUV was parked at the corner watching silently. Inside, the man in the coat spoke into a device. He's ready. We begin tomorrow. And far away, in a hidden base, a door opened. A screen lit up, and the name Liam Carter appeared in red. The mission had begun, and the world had no idea what was coming. The next morning, Officer Daniels was still laughing about the boy. He told the story again at the town diner, sitting at the counter with coffee in one hand and sarcasm in the other. Kid says his dad's special forces. He chuckled to the waitress. 10 years old and already full of fairy tales. A couple of other locals laughed politely, but the man at the end of the counter didn't. He was older, maybe in his 60s, wearing a worn jacket and a baseball cap pulled low over his face. He stirred his coffee once, twice, then stood up, dropped a 20 on the counter, and walked out without a word. Daniels didn't even notice. Back at the school, Liam sat at his desk. He didn't speak much that day, but something about him had changed. His shoulders were straighter. His eyes looked ahead instead of down. The teasing continued, but he didn't react. At lunch, Zoe, a quiet girl who sometimes sat near him, came over. Hey, she said softly. About what you said yesterday. About your dad. I don't think you were lying. Liam looked at her. Surprised. Why? She shrugged. Just a feeling. My uncle was in the army. He talked like you do when you talk about your dad. like it's something real, something deep. Liam gave a small smile. Thanks. Officer Daniels walked past their table and shot Liam a look. Heard from your secret agent dad lately? He asked with a grin. Liam stared back. You shouldn't joke about things you don't understand. Daniels scoffed and walked off. After school, Liam's mom picked him up. Her eyes were tired, her hands shaking slightly on the steering wheel. We need to talk, she said. Liam waited. She didn't look at him. If someone comes to the house, someone in uniform, you don't open the door unless they say one word. What word? Vanguard. That night, it rained again. Liam sat in his room, reading an old journal his dad had left behind. Most of it was written in code, but on the last page were 3 words, written clearly: trust the signal. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Liam's mom peeked through the curtain, then stepped back quickly. Liam, go to your room now. He didn't argue. He ran upstairs, but left the door open just a crack. She opened the front door slowly. It was Officer Daniels. Evening, he said, tipping his hat, just checking. In, she forced a smile. Everything's fine. He looked past her shoulder. Is Liam home? He's resting. Daniels hesitated. I heard there was a black SUV parked outside your house yesterday. Same one showed up again on our street cameras last night. Her voice stayed calm. Probably someone lost. It's a quiet neighborhood. Daniels nodded. Right? Mind if I step in for a second? She stood firm. Actually, now is not a good time. Daniels narrowed his eyes, sensing something, but said nothing. All right then. Just looking out for the kid. He tipped his hat again and walked off. Upstairs, Liam closed the journal. Something didn't feel right. Later that night, he woke up to the sound of tires on gravel. He looked out the window. The black SUV was back. He didn't wait. He got dressed, grabbed the coin, and slipped downstairs. His mom met him at the bottom. You heard it too. He nodded. She handed him a bag. Inside, there's food, water, and the old drive. You might need it, but what about you? I'll be okay. They won't touch me. They want you. Liam looked scared for the first time. Where do I go? Follow the signal, she whispered. The journal will guide you. The knock came again, but this time it was soft. Calm. She opened the door. The man from the SUV stood there. Same coat, same sunglasses. She nodded. He's ready. The man looked at Liam. You've got 15 minutes before they send others. Liam followed him outside. The SUV was still warm, engine humming. He climbed in, and the door shut behind him. As they drove off, the man finally spoke. You know why you're important, Liam? He shook his head. Because your father wasn't just special forces. He was something more. Something very few people even know existed. And you're the only one who can finish what he started. Liam clutched the coin in his hand. Why me? The man looked at him in the mirror. Because you're his son. And they'll never expect that. Back at the house, Officer Daniels parked a few streets away. He stared at the dark window. Then, his phone buzzed. A private message. No name, just words. You laughed. Now you follow. He looked around. The man from the diner, the quiet one, was standing under a street lamp. He nodded once, then disappeared into the rain. Daniel's heart began to race. Somewhere deep in his memory, a story came back to him. One he had buried years ago. A mission gone wrong? A soldier who dragged him out of fire? One with no name, no rank, only a call sign. Ghost Falcon. And now the boy was claiming that man was his father. Daniels didn't laugh anymore. He started Picard and turned the other way. The story wasn't over, it was just beginning. The SUV moved fast through the back roads, far from streetlights and cameras. Trees blurred past the windows as Liam sat quietly in the back seat, gripping the coin tighter than ever. The man in the driver's seat hadn't said much since they left. His eyes stayed focused ahead, his movements sharp, like someone trained to see danger before it arrived. After almost an hour, they pulled into an abandoned train yard. Broken tracks stretched across the ground like scars. The SUV rolled to a stop between 2 rusted train cars. The man turned to Liam. You're safe for now. We don't have much time though. Who are you? Liam finally asked. My name is Mason. I worked with your father. He saved my life more than once. Liam stared at him. Is he still alive? Mason didn't answer right away. Then he looked straight at Liam. We don't know. He went dark years ago. But he left something behind. Something people are still trying to find, including the wrong people. Liam pulled out the journal. He said to trust the signal. What does that mean? Mason nodded slowly. Then he did prepare you. He reached into a black case and pulled out a small radio-like device. It had a glowing screen with strange numbers. This picks up encrypted signals from old special ops channels. One of them is your dad's. Liam watched as Mason entered a code and adjusted the frequency. A faint beeping sound came through. That's him, Mason said. That's the ghost signal. Your father's call sign was Ghost Falcon. He created this code before he vanished. Liam's eyes widened. He knew someone would come looking. He hoped it would be you. Suddenly, the beeping changed. The signal shifted from a steady tone to something more urgent, faster, louder. Mason frowned. That's not right. He looked at Liam. We've been tracked. They must have followed your heat signature from the SUV. Liam felt his chest tighten. Who's following us? A group your father warned us about. Not official military, not even fully human in some cases. Just trained, silent, and deadly. No names, no rules. Mason pressed a button and popped. Open a hatch beneath the back seat. Crawl in. Fast. Liam slid into the narrow space. Mason handed him a flashlight, the radio device, and a small card. This is your dad's last message. You'll know when to use it. What about you? Liam whispered. I'll hold them off. Liam wanted to argue, but Mason shut the hatch before he could speak. Seconds later, footsteps crunched across the gravel. 3 men in black gear approached the SUV. They didn't knock. They didn't ask questions. They just opened fire. Mason rolled across the seat and fired back through the open door, buying Liam time. Glass shattered. Tires burst. Smoke filled the air. Inside the compartment, Liam closed his eyes, trying not to panic. He thought of his dad, his voice, his eyes, the way he said, "Be brave, no matter what." Above him, Mason shouted one final time. Then silence. For nearly 10 minutes, nothing moved. Then Liam heard the rear door creak open. Boots. 2 men speaking in low tones. One of them said, "No sign of the boy." Another replied, "Scan again." "He's here." Liam held his breath. The coin in his pocket grew warm. Then a strange sound filled the air, a high-pitched pulse. One of the men groaned. "What is that?" "Fall back," the other said, but his voice was weak. There was a flash of light, and then the sound of bodies hitting the ground. Silence again. Then the hatch opened. Liam flinched, but the person who opened it wasn't Mason. It was someone, older, taller, wearing a dark coat with a hood. The man knelt down and whispered, "You're not safe here. Come with me." Liam stared. There was something familiar in the man's eyes, but he followed without a word. They moved quickly through the train yard and into a hidden passage beneath one of the old engines. The man led him through tunnels, staircases, and locked doors. No one else was around, only silence and dust. Finally, they reached a small underground room. The man lit a lantern and turned to face him. "I've been watching you," he said. "Your father trusted me once. My name is Vance." Liam stayed quiet. Vance opened a drawer and pulled out a photo. It was of Liam's father standing in front of a wall with symbols carved into stone. "He found something," Vance said. "Something ancient, a secret tied to why he disappeared." "And why people want you?" Me. Liam asked. "Why me?" "Because you're the only one who carries his blood and his knowledge. You may not remember, but he trained you as a child, quietly, in games, in stories. You have what they don't, instinct." Vance handed Liam a small device. "This will lead you to the next location, but you must not go alone." "Who do I find?" "A woman named Alina. She was part of his old unit. She disappeared years ago but resurfaced in a small border town. She may be the last one who knows the truth." Liam took the device. "Will you come with me?" Vance shook his head. "I'm already marked. If I come, I'll lead them straight to her." Liam looked down at the coin. It was glowing now, just a soft blue light pulsing from the eagle. Vance smiled. "That means your father is still out there, somewhere." Liam stood up straighter. "Then I'll find him." Vance placed a hand on his shoulder. "You're stronger than you know." They left the room through another tunnel, and by sunrise, Liam was on a bus heading west alone, but more determined than ever. He watched the trees pass by the window, and in his pocket, the coin continued to glow. The signal wasn't just a message, it was a path, and Liam had just taken his first real step. The bus rattled over old roads, its windows foggy from the morning mist. Liam sat near the back, his backpack on his lap and the device Vance had given him hidden inside. No one on the bus looked at him, just tired workers, quiet travelers, and an old woman sleeping with her head against the window. Liam kept glancing at the glowing coin in his pocket. The blue light had faded a little, but it was still pulsing slow, steady, like a heartbeat. He remembered Vance's words. "That means your father is still out there." He took out the small device and turned it on. A map flickered onto the screen. A red dot blinked on the far side of a mountain range. Below it, one word appeared. Alina? That was the woman he needed to find. The bus finally stopped in a quiet desert town. The sun was harsh, the streets dusty and empty. Liam stepped off the bus and looked around. Old signs hung from buildings, most of them closed. A few shops still operated: a diner, a gas station, and a bar with shaded windows. He walked into the diner, a bell rang over the door, and a waitress with a tired face looked up. "You lost, kid?" she asked. "I'm looking for someone," Liam said. "Her name's Alina." The woman froze. She wiped her hands on her apron and leaned in. "Who sent you, Vance?" She studied him. "Sit down. Don't look around. Don't talk to anyone." Liam obeyed. She brought him a glass of water and a sandwich, then slipped into the seat across from him. "Alina doesn't go by that name anymore," she said softly. "She works at the gas station down the street. Name's Elle now." Liam's heart sped up. "Can you take me to her?" "No, but I'll call ahead." She stood, walked to the back, and made a short phone call. Minutes later, she returned. "See you. Go now, before others notice." Liam grabbed his bag and ran to the gas station. It was almost empty, just an old truck at the pump, and a woman inside cleaning the shelves. She looked up as he entered, tall, strong, with short hair and eyes that didn't miss a thing. "You're the boy," she said. "You're Alina." "I was," she replied. Now I'm just someone trying to stay forgotten. Liam held out the coin. She took one look at it and her whole expression changed. Come with me. She led him through a side door into a back room filled with tools, boxers, and a small metal cabinet. She opened it with a hidden key and pulled out a sealed envelope. It had one word on it. Liam. He opened it carefully. Inside was a letter, written in his father's handwriting. If you're reading this, Liam, then I couldn't finish the mission myself. Alina knows the rest. Trust her. And never forget you were born for more than a normal life. You carry the light they tried to bury. You carry the truth. Liam looked up at her. What did he mean? Alina sat down slowly. Your dad discovered something years ago, something hidden in plain sight, inside military codes, old battle maps, even children's books. A signal that connects people, ideas, memories, something powerful enough to expose the entire system if decoded. And now people want it, Liam said. They want to destroy it, she replied, and they'll do anything to stop you. Liam pulled out the device. This says I'm supposed to find the next location. Do you know where it is? She looked at the screen, then nodded. Double quotes, yes? But it's not a place, it's a person. One man who knew how to finish the code? Who? Your grandfather. Liam blinked. He's alive. She nodded. Last I heard, he went off the grid, but your father left a trail lonely. A few of us can follow it. She reached into her bag and pulled out a folded map. On it were 5 red circles. She pointed to the one farthest north. He'll be here, but we'll have to go through 2 checkpoints. And they'll be watching for us. Then we don't go by road, Liam said. Alina looked at him with surprise. He unfolded the journal. My dad wrote about a back route, through the ridge, no cameras, no drones, but it's dangerous. She smiled slightly. He trained you well. They packed supplies and waited until dusk. As the sun dipped below the horizon, they left the town, walking through dry fields, crossing train tracks and old fences. Coyotes howled in the distance. The desert was cold now, the stars sharp and bright above them. Halfway through the night, they reached a narrow canyon. Alina paused, crouched low. Movement? She whispered. Liam followed her gaze. The wind howled through the trees as Liam and Alina moved quietly across the dark terrain. The night was colder now, and their clothes were damp with sweat and dirt from the cave. But they couldn't stop. Not yet. Alina kept checking over her shoulder, her hand close to the small pistol at her waist. Liam's eyes scanned every shadow, every rustle in the brush. We're close now, she said. Another mile? Maybe 2. What if he's not there? Liam asked. Alina didn't look at him. Then we keep going. But I have a feeling he will be. Liam thought about his grandfather. He barely remembered him. Just one memory. Really a warm laugh. A strong hand lifting him up when he was little. Then nothing. His grandfather had disappeared not long after his dad. Some said he had died. Others said he had vanished for a reason. They reached a steep ridge just before dawn. A thin trail led up the side, winding through jagged rocks. Liam followed Alina in silence, pushing through the pain in his legs, the ache in his feet. At the top of the ridge was a small wooden cabin, barely visible in the gray morning light. Smoke rose gently from the chimney. Alina held up her hand and crouched. He's here. She moved slowly toward the door, then knocked twice, paused, then knocked once more. Silence. Then the door creaked open. An old man stood in the doorway. His beard was white, his eyes sharp. He didn't speak, just stared at Liam. Liam's heart raced. Are you? The man stepped aside. Come in. Inside. The cabin was warm and simple. A fireplace, a small table, a few shelves with old books and tools. Maps hung on the walls. Radios, batteries, and parts of old machines were stacked in the corners. The man sat down and motioned for them to do the same. I knew you'd come, he said. You did? Liam asked. He nodded. Your father told me you would find your way here. He said you'd carry the signal. Liam reached into his pocket and showed him the coin. The old man's face softened, still glowing. Then he's alive. You think so too? Liam asked. The man leaned forward. I know it. Because if he were gone, that coin would have gone dark. It's not just metal, Liam. It's bonded to a frequency. One your father helped build. He turned to Alina. You brought him through the canyon. She nodded. We had some trouble. They're watching everything now. They've been watching for years, he said. But they're getting desperate. Which means we're getting close. Liam pulled out the device. It led us here, but it's quiet now. The man took the device and studied it. Then he entered a new code and handed it back. The screen blinked. A new map appeared, showing 5 locations connected by thin lines. At the center was a red circle. What's that? Liam asked. That's the core, the man replied. The place your father found. The center of the signal. Liam stared at it. Where is it? Deep underground, the man said. Beneath a city that doesn't exist on any current map. It was erased from satellite data years ago, but I still know where it is. Alina stepped closer. Can we reach it? The man hesitated. Yes, but you won't be the only ones trying. Others are already searching, and some of them are willing to kill to keep it hidden. Liam looked down. Why is it so important? Because inside that city is the truth your father discovered. A file? A key? Maybe more. Something powerful enough to expose everything: names, lies, plans, and operations the world never knew existed. Alina turned to the window. We need to move fast. I'll get you there, the man said. But we'll need help. He stood and pulled down a box from the shelf. Inside were old photographs, men and women in uniform, some smiling, some not. He tapped one photo. She's the only one left from our original team. Her name is Mira. She vanished years ago, but I kept tabs on her. Where is she now? Alina asked. Living in the mountains under a new name. I'll send the signal. If she hears it, she'll come. Liam looked at the glowing coin again. I don't understand why they're so scared of this. It's just truth, right? The man looked at him carefully. Truth can be more dangerous than bullets, Liam. It destroys lies. It burns through cover. And in the wrong hands, it can be rewritten. A crackling noise came from a radio on the shelf. The man walked over and turned a dial. A woman's voice came through. I heard the signal, heading to Point Delta. ATA, 3 hours. He smiled. She's coming. Alina checked her watch. Then we need to leave before sunset. The man nodded. There's a tunnel beneath this cabin. Leads out past the ridge. They'll never see you exit. He handed Liam a folder. Inside were blueprints, old access codes, and a worn photograph of his father standing in front of a strange structure, stone walls, covered in strange markings. This is what you're looking for, the core. Liam stared at the photo. Did he ever go inside? The man nodded. He did, but he never told us what he saw, only that it changed him. Outside, the wind picked up. Alina opened the door slightly and scanned the valley below. Smoke was rising in the distance. They're coming, she said. The man didn't panic. He walked to a shelf and pulled down 2 heavy coats, a satchel, and a small locked case. He handed the case to Liam. Don't open this until you're inside the core. Your father left it for that moment alone. Liam took it and nodded. Then they moved to the trapdoor and descended into the tunnel. As they vanished into the dark, the old man stood at the top, watching. Then he turned back into the cabin and quietly removed the safety from a hidden rifle. The hunters were near, but the truth was already on its way out. And this time, it had a face. The tunnel was cold and narrow, carved from rock and lined with rusted support beams. Liam walked behind Alina, the satchel strapped tightly to his back, the locked case clutched in his hands. The flashlight beam flickered as dust floated in the stale air. Their footsteps echoed quietly, but every sound felt louder than it should. How long is this tunnel? Liam asked. Almost 2 miles, Alina replied without turning. It'll take us under the ridge and into the next valley. Mira should meet us at the crossing point. Liam nodded, even though she couldn't see him. Behind them, the tunnel sloped downward. Every few steps, water dripped from the ceiling, the sound steady and rhythmic. Alina moved fast, never hesitating at turns. She knew the path. Liam's thoughts wandered to the old man, the grandfather. He barely knew, standing in that cabin with fire in his eyes. He had stayed behind, alone. Liam had wanted to ask why, but deep down, he already knew. Some people choose to fight their final battles on their own ground. After nearly an hour, the tunnel leveled out. A faint breeze touched Liam's face. He could smell pine and dirt and cold air. They were getting close. Suddenly, Alina stopped and raised her hand. Liam froze. Voices, faint at first, but growing clearer. 2 men were ahead, not moving, talking softly near the exit. Alina switched off the flashlight. She leaned close to Liam. Stay behind me. If things go bad, run toward the trees. Follow the slope east. Liam nodded, heart pounding. They crept forward, each step slow and careful. When they reached the tunnel's mouth, Alina peeked around the edge. 2 men in black gear stood outside near a black vehicle. They were armed, relaxed but alert. I count 2, she whispered. But they're not alone, Liam said. Alina looked at him. He pointed toward a small device clipped to one of the men's shoulders. Thermal scanner, standard protocol. If they're here, there's more. Alina gave a small nod of approval. Good eye. Then she pulled a small mirror from her jacket and angled it toward the trees. A flash of light returned. 3 short, 1 long, 1 short, Alina whispered. It's Mira. She reached into her boot, pulled out a compact flare, and tossed it down a side shaft. Moments later, it exploded loud and bright. The 2 men jumped, raising weapons, turning toward the noise. That was all they needed. Myra struck first. She moved like a shadow, emerging from the tree line with speed and precision. The first man didn't even react. He was unconscious before he hit the ground. The second turned just in time to see Alina charging. 1 hit to the side of his head and he collapsed. Silence returned. Myra stepped into view. She was tall, with silver streaks in her hair and eyes as cold as steel. She looked at Liam. You're him, she said. Liam nodded. I guess I am. Without a word, she turned and walked toward a narrow path that led deeper into the woods. They followed her in silence. After about 20 minutes, they stopped near an old concrete structure half buried in earth. Moss grew along the cracks. It looked like a forgotten bunker from another time. Myra placed her hand on a panel near the door. A red light scanned her palm, then turned green. The door creaked open. Inside, lights flickered to life. A command center revealed itself. Monitors, maps, radios, and weapons lined the walls. Myra shut the door behind them. This is one of the last safe zones left. She pointed to a map on the wall. A red circle marked the center deep in a remote canyon. That's your next stop, she said. The core. Alina studied the map. How do we get there without being seen? There's a sky route, Myra said. One of our old dropships still works. It's buried in a hangar 6 miles north. We fly at night, no lights, no signal. If we're lucky, we'll get close without alerting them. And if we're not lucky, Liam asked, then we fight. Myra said simply. Liam sat down and opened the folder his grandfather gave him. He looked at the blueprint again, the strange structure deep underground. On one corner, barely visible, were symbols that matched the coin. Mira walked over. I've seen those before, she said. Years ago, in an operation we weren't supposed to survive. She turned and opened a drawer. Pulling out a photo, it showed a door-massive circular car. The dropship cut silently through the night sky, lights off, sensors dim, flying low above the trees. Liam sat strapped in the rear seat, the locked case still on his lap. The hum of the engines was steady, almost soothing, but his mind refused to rest. Every mile they flew brought them closer to the core, closer to the truth. His father had died trying to protect. Mira flew with one hand on the controls, the other hovering near the manual override. Alina monitored the radar screen. It showed nothing, no drones, no aircraft, but that didn't mean they weren't being watched. How much longer? Liam asked. 40 minutes. Mira said, if we stay undetected. If not, he asked quietly, then we drop early and go in. On foot, Alina replied without turning. Liam tightened his grip on the case. He still hadn't opened it. His father's final message, hidden within, waited for the right moment. And Liam knew that moment was close. The sky ahead began to lighten slightly. Dawn was still far off, but the horizon glowed faintly with the first hint of day. Below them, the terrain changed. Trees gave way to jagged rock, deep canyons and cliffs, rivers that shimmered silver in the dark. That's it, Mira said, pointing. The canyon will descend behind that ridge. As they approached, a sharp beep broke the silence. Elena's eyes flicked to the radar. Contact, behind us. Fast. Mira swore under her breath. They found us. Another beep, closer. There. Jamming the signal, Elena said, we have 10 minutes, maybe less. Strap in, Mira ordered. We're going low. The dropship dove sharply, pulling into the canyon just as a missile streaked overhead and exploded against the far cliff. The shockwave rocked the ship. Liam's heart slammed into his chest. Lights blinked red, alarms wailed. They're locking again. Alina shouted. Mira yanked a lever. The dropship tilted hard, cutting beneath an overhang, skimming just feet. Above the canyon floor, we're going dark, she said. Full blackout. The ship's lights cut off completely. Only the pale glow of the instruments remained. The engines shifted into silent glide mode. They'll lose visual soon, Myra whispered. Liam peered through the side window. Shadows danced along the canyon walls, sharp and moving. Another explosion rumbled far behind them. Then silence. They missed. Alina said, for now. Mira guided the ship to a narrow ridge and landed it between two massive rocks, almost hidden from above. The ship powered down. We go on foot from here, Myra said. Another hour's hike to the gate. They climbed out quickly, grabbing their gear. Liam slid the case into his backpack. The canyon air was cold, the sky above, slowly turning purple. Alina took the lead. They moved fast, hugging the rock walls, stepping carefully over loose stone and dry brush. The silence was thick, like the world was holding its breath. Finally, they reached it. The gate. It stood at the base of the canyon, half buried in earth and vines, ancient and unnatural. A massive circular structure made of smooth black stone, 10 feet high, with strange symbols carved deep into its surface. At the center, a round panel glowed faintly, the same symbol as Liam's coin, the eagle with lightning wings. Liam stepped forward. The coin in his pocket pulsed harder now. This is it, he said softly. Mira and Alina fanned out, checking the perimeter. No sign of enemy movement, Alina said. But we won't be alone for long. Liam approached the center panel. He took out the coin and the case. The panel reacted instantly, glowing brighter as the coin neared. He placed the coin into a circular slot. The panel opened with a soft hiss. Inside was a small keypad, no numbers. Just a place to insert something. Liam opened the case. Inside was a single glass tube. Glowing blue liquid pulsed inside it like a heartbeat. Attached was a note in his father's handwriting. For the gate. For the truth. For Liam. He swallowed hard, took the tube, and inserted it into the slot. The gate trembled. A deep hum echoed through the canyon. Lines of light spread out from the center, crawling across the stone like veins. The symbols lit up one by one until the entire structure glowed. Then the gate opened. Stone split apart with a grinding sound, revealing a dark tunnel beneath. Liam looked at Alina and Mira. They nodded. He stepped in first. The air inside was warm and dry, untouched for years. The walls were lined with more symbols, more carvings. The tunnel descended, spiraling downward. They reached a chamber, and inside it waited a console, ancient but still active. Lights blinked, screens flickered. It looked both alien and human, like it had been built by someone who knew both languages. Liam approached. As he neared, the console activated. A holographic image appeared. His father, not live. A recording, Liam, the image said, his voice soft but steady. If you're seeing this, you made it. I can't begin to say how proud I am. Liam's throat tightened. There are things the world was never supposed to know. The image continued. But truth finds a way. This place, this core contains every lie they ever buried. Every mission erased, every name they silenced, and now, you have the power to bring it all into the light. Elena and Myra stood silently behind him. I couldn't finish it, the recording said, but you can. Insert the final key. And, let the world see. The image faded. A final slot opened on the console. Liam reached into his pocket, and pulled out the coin. He hesitated, then pushed it in. The room exploded in light. A rush of wind. A sound like 1,000 whispers. The walls glowed, and the screens filled with date names, documents, videos, secrets, and far away, across the world, satellites blinked, screens lit up, and the truth began to spread. The chamber pulsed with light, as the truth unlocked itself, spreading across every screen, wire, and frequency the core could reach. Data streamed into the air like glowing rivers, files, audio recordings, classified footage, secret missions, all spilling out in a storm of revelation. Liam stood still, overwhelmed by the storm around him, his heart pounding like a drum. Mira and Elena stepped forward, eyes wide as the past unfolded before them. The world won't be the same after this, Elena whispered. No, Mira said, it won't, but maybe it never should have been. The core system worked fast. As the data poured out, encrypted nodes around the world began unlocking. Governments, media agencies, even private terminals each received pieces of information buried for decades. Names of fallen agents erased from history, hidden experiments, secret wars, entire black budgets revealed. But most powerful of all was what Liam's father had recorded: conversations, plans, and a map that led back to the hidden hands. Behind everything. Then the lights dimmed. The data stream slowed. Liam looked at the console. The coin had dimmed again. Its job was done. A soft tone sounded from the wall. Mira turned. We've got a problem. What is it? Liam asked. They're here, she said. Outside in the canyon above, the roar of engines echoed. Shadows moved against the dawn light. Black transports descended like locusts. Ground units, in dark armor, deployed fast. Weapons ready, eyes cold. They didn't know what Liam had done yet, but they would soon. We don't have time to hold this place, Elena said. We need to get him out. But the data, Liam started. It's already out, Myra said. The truth is flying. We just need to survive now. She pulled a small disk from the console, a backup of everything. Elena handed Liam her sidearm, just in case. He took it with shaking hands. The three of them moved fast through the tunnel, heading back to the surface. As they reached the top of the spiral, a small explosion rocked the cliff above. Dust and debris rained down. They hit the ground as a blast opened the mouth of the gate. Soldiers dropped in. Run, Mira shouted. Liam sprinted through the canyon, ducking behind boulders, slipping through cracks in the stone. Myra and Elena covered him from behind, firing with precision. 2 soldiers went down, then 3, but more came. A sharp cry echoed behind him. Liam turned just in time to see Mira stumble, blood on her shoulder. She waved him on. Keep going. Liam hesitated, then obeyed. Elena caught up to him and grabbed his arm. There's a climb up ahead, steep, but it leads out. They reached the base of the ridge. Liam scrambled up first, pulling himself hand over hand, using cracks in the rock for grip. Behind them, Myra threw a smoke grenade, buying them seconds. When they reached the top, Liam looked down. Myra was still at the bottom, pinned behind a rock. She fired one last shot before turning and sprinting toward a narrow side trail. She vanished into the fog. At the ridge, Elena grabbed Liam and pulled him toward the trees. Keep moving. They ran for what felt like forever, the sound of gunfire fading behind them. Birds scattered into the sky. Helicopters hovered in the distance but never saw them. By the time they reached the second safe house, a hidden shelter, buried under a collapsed mine, it was nearly noon. Liam collapsed inside, his chest heaving. Elena shut the heavy door and bolted it. Silence. They were safe for now. Liam leaned back, closing his eyes. It's done, he said softly. Yes, Elena replied. It is. They stayed in the bunker for 2 days. The world above changed with every passing hour. The first wave hit the internet, leaked documents, shocking footage, undeniable evidence. The second wave hit the news, the resignation of leaders, the collapse of secret agencies, investigations, launched across countries. By the third day, people marched in the streets not out of anger, but unity. Veterans were honored. Families received apologies. Questions that had been buried for years were finally answered, and at the center of it all was one name whispered over and over. Liam. He never gave a speech, never stood before a camera, but the world knew. The boy who carried the coin,